You know, I would make a passing reference to the coronavirus, which is currently ravaging the United States as I'm recording this video, but by the time this episode of the show comes out, we'll all either be dead from said coronavirus, or we will have moved past said coronavirus. So you know what? I've already instantly dated this episode by even mentioning the coronavirus. On that note, hello everyone, welcome back to Home Media Reviews. As I alluded to last week, this review is on the Indiana Jones collection, or Indiana Jones The Complete Adventures, but not so complete anymore because we have Indiana Jones 5 coming soon. The Blu-ray set's called Complete Adventures, so I just feel like I have to say that. So just like last season with Star Wars, we are going to be taking a look at the 4 Indiana Jones films. Yes, I am including Crystal Skull, even though a lot of Indiana Jones purists out there don't see it as a pure Indiana Jones film, but it's in the franchise. No matter if I like it or not, it's in the franchise. We have to cover it. It's included in this set. So, we're taking a look at the 4 Indiana Jones films. Let's just jump right into it. Let's go on to the history section. I'm going to be making a lot of equations to Star Wars, that HMR on the original trilogy from last season. Just like then, we're only going to be taking a look at when the films first were released in theaters, when they first came out on VHS, or in Crystal Skull's case, DVD. And then we're just going to be taking a look at when they were released in combo sets, whether that be boxed sets or, well, I guess that's it, boxed sets, collections, anything like that. So, the original Indiana Jones film, Raiders of the Lost Ark, or the retcon titled Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, which I don't find all that bad. A lot of people hate it, but I don't find it all that terrible. Was originally released in theaters on June 12th, 1981. I was not conceived yet. Matter of fact, my parents weren't even married yet, so I did not see this in theaters. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, the film that created the PG-13 rating, hit theaters on May 8th, 1984. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade hit theaters on May 24th, 1989. Surprising, that took about 4 years after Temple of Doom, but Temple of Doom took 3 years after Raiders, so I just find that interesting. And then Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull hit theaters on May 18th, 2008. Now this one I could have feasibly seen in theaters because I was 9 when this came out. Well, actually I was 8. I was going to turn 9 that year. But I didn't see this one in theaters. Just like Iron Man came out in 2008, stuff like that. I had no interest in seeing this in theaters. I had never seen Indiana Jones before. I didn't see Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark until I believe it was 2015. It was either 2015 or 2014 when I bought the Blu-ray set off of Amazon because it was significantly cheaper than buying it in a store. They were having a sale, so I picked it up. I think I even made an unboxing video on it way back in the day. Yeah, go and try to find that video. I might put a card on it here. But I didn't see Raiders until years later, like years later. I think I watched it for the first time in like 2015 or so, you know, after I bought the Blu-ray set. And I freaking loved it. It was a great film. It took me a little while to watch the others. With me, I buy a movie. Usually in about 6 to 7 months, I'll finally get around to watching said movie, and yeah, it just took me a long time to finally see the entire trilogy. But I love the trilogy, and I did see Kingdom of the Crystal Skull on through that Blu-ray set that I picked up. I didn't see Kingdom of the Crystal Skull till I think like 2017, I believe. I'd owned it for so long, and I just never felt the need to watch it. But about 3 years ago, finally saw it for the first time. And watching it for this review was my second time watching it. Raiders first came out on VHS in 1986, and, funny enough, so did Temple of Doom. Raiders didn't hit VHS till 5 years after it came out in theaters. Temple of Doom took 2 years, so kind of shocking that those hit in the same year. Last Crusade came out on VHS in 1989, so the same year that came out in theaters. We were finally catching up in terms of modern day releases on home video and such. The first VHS trilogy meaning combining the 3 films together into one conclusive package, was also put out in 1989. There was a reissue of that trilogy in 1999, so 10 years later, you could pick that up again. 1999, my birth year. Good for me. Then the trilogy was put on to the cutting edge format back in 2003. It was put on to DVD on October 21st, 2003. 1 year before Star Wars hit the format. And there was a elusive Best Buy exclusive version of this set. It came with a extra Raiders featurette on the bonus disc. And this set, man, this set is iconic. Every person's house that I've ever gone to that owns like a substantial physical media collection, they have this DVD set. Unless they're not plebeians and own Blu-ray, then they own the Blu-ray set. But this DVD set, I see everywhere. This thing sold like hotcakes, much like the Star Wars 2004 sets did. There was a trilogy reprint on May 13th, 2008, I assume to lead up to Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, because on October 14th, 2008, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull released onto DVD. And there was also a 4-film collection was also put out to coincide with this release. Then 4 years later, on September 18th, 2012, we got our Blu-ray release, the definitive version of Indiana Jones on any kind of media. These Blu-ray transfers look stupendous. And just like with any modern day Blu-ray release, there were some exclusive versions. There's a Target exclusive that included a lithograph set. I'm not the biggest fan of lithographs, but cool if you are. And Best Buy comes swinging in again with another exclusive. It's another steelbook, but it had the same artwork as on the regular Blu-ray release. So I personally would prefer the regular one. That's the one I got. So yeah, go with the regular one. I don't know why I'm talking about this like I'm recommending these. I haven't even got to the end yet. 7 years go by, and then we finally get a reissue of the Blu-ray Steelbook on May 17th, 2019. Now, this version showed up at both Best Buy and Walmart. Don't ask me why it showed up at Best Buy and Walmart. Oh, I know why it showed up at Best Buy. They're synonymous with Steelbooks. Walmart, though, I don't get that. For the last couple of months, though, Walmart's been getting in steelbooks. I mean, ever since 2019, they've been getting in a good substantial amount of steelbooks that didn't sell at either Best Buy or other places. I specifically remember throughout the last, 3 or 4 months of 2019, there were a couple Hellboy steelbooks that were exclusive to Target that were just rotting on Walmart shelves. And not the good Hellboy. No. The 2019 version of Hellboy. That's why I didn't buy it. So that concludes the history section. Not as long and extensive as I thought it would be. This trilogy has been reprinted a good amount of times. Or I guess quadrilogy, I should say. I mean, to be fair, it was a trilogy for the longest time. And then Steven Spielberg and George Lucas said, hey, let's make another one. And yeah, we all know how that turned out. That is the end of the history section. Let's move on to the close-up section. Alrighty, everyone. Here's your close-up look at Indiana Jones: The Complete Adventures. This should look very familiar to you because this honestly looks and is very similar to the Star Wars: The Complete Saga set that we took a look at back in Season 1 of this show here, which, this was released by the same company, assuming, because Lucasfilm owns Indiana Jones and whatnot, but still cool and all that. Or Paramount actually released Indiana Jones, now that I'm thinking about that. But you've got Indiana Jones from Raiders of the Lost Ark on the front there, Indiana Jones: The Complete Adventures, some shots of characters from the various films. Some of that's from Crystal Skull, some of that is from Temple of Doom. And over here you've got another Crystal Skull image there with Sean Connery from The Last Crusade, and then some more Temple of Doom stuff and Shia LaBeouf and all that. It's really a mixture of all 4 Indiana Jones films, which is pretty cool. I really like this poster. The side, Lucasfilm logo, Indiana Jones: The Complete Adventures, Paramount logo down there in the bottom with Blu-ray disc and THX, and the back just features a little map. When you bought this in store, though, in the shrink wrap, there would have been a little back that goes over top of this. I don't have it on me right now. I didn't feel like going to look for it for this video, but yeah, I do have it. It's just not on me right now. And then the other side is the same as this side, although this is where that pops out. See how this is similar to the Complete Saga? It's that same hard cardboard. And on the bottom you got legalese and stuff and the Blu-ray logo. So here's what your little booklet looks like, where the Blu-ray discs are located. Same artwork as on the front. We open this up. Indiana Jones Complete Adventures. And now we get to the actual film discs. So here's Raiders of the Lost Ark, and your discs are located in the side. Like that, see? They all have the same style to them. So, like I said, it's very similar to the Complete Saga. I mean, this set is basically the Complete Saga's brother-in-law, I guess you could say. I mean, they're very similar. Here's Temple of Doom. I like also how you've got like posters for the film and little behind the scenes photos for each film. And there's what your disc looks like. Last Crusade. And there's your disc. And the worst one, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And here's your disc. And then, just like with Star Wars, we have a bonus features disc. Just one though, not three, like we had with Star Wars, but there's your bonus disc there. And then the back page just features copyright information for each of the films. No digital copies included here, which is a little bit unfortunate, but that was the same thing with the Star Wars Complete Saga set. So that concludes your close-up. Now let's move on to what could very well be a long menu tour. Alrighty everyone, here's your menu tour for Indiana Jones The Complete Adventures. I know I said in the close-up that this could very well be a long menu tour because I was originally planning on showing the menu for all 4 films, including the bonus features disc, so we would have had 5 menu tours. I'm not comfortable with doing that now because I'm looking at the raw audio I have recorded for this video, and it's about a half hour long. So what I'm going to do is just show you one of the films. If you're keen on your Indiana Jones knowledge, you would know that this is the Raiders of the Lost Ark disc that's in the player right now. I'm just going to show you one of them because upon reviewing these discs, the menus are all pretty much exactly the same, so it would really not be good, I guess. I don't really know what the term is. It wouldn't be smart, I guess, to show you all 4 menus because they're all the same, and it would just be me going through the exact same things over and over again. But I will show you the bonus features menu right after we take a look at the Raiders menu. So, sorry, we went down from 5 menu tours to 2. So, here we go. We've got play, settings, scenes, and extras. It looks like a Fox menu, actually, like a Fox Blu-ray menu, now that I'm looking at it more closely. You know, we took a look at some Fox titles on this show in the past, and they all have pretty similar menus. For audio, we've got a few different options. We've got English 5.1 Master Audio, French 5.1, Spanish 5.1, Spanish 2.0, Portuguese 5.1, and Portuguese 2.0. So a lot of interesting audio options there. For subtitles, English, SDH, I'm still not sure what that means, French, Portuguese, and Spanish. So some love for the Portuguese on this set, surprisingly. For scenes, we have 31 of them, and each one of them have their own little title, which you guys know I very much enjoy that. And for extras, we have a teaser trailer, theatrical trailer, and the reissue trailer. And for pretty much all of these films, they all include the trailers for them on their film discs. And hey, here we are for that bonus features disc. As you can see, the menu is incredibly similar. We have behind the scenes images playing here for us. We have on set with Raiders of the Lost Ark making the films, behind the scenes, credits, and subtitles. So I believe, okay, yeah. So on set with Raiders is a couple of featurettes here. You can play all of them, I guess, and from jungle to desert, and then from adventure to legend. I assume this is all just about Raiders. Making the films includes the making of Raiders of the Lost Ark. That has 1981 as a date stamp next to it, but then there's another one below it that says Making of Raiders of the Lost Ark. I guess it's two separate things. Making of Temple of Doom, Making of Last Crusade, and the Making of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And for behind the scenes, we have a lot of featurettes here. We have the stunts, the sound, the music, the light and magic, Raiders, the melting face, which is of course about the face melting scene, Indiana Jones and the Creepy Crawlies, travel with Indiana Jones locations, Indy's Women, the American Film Institute tribute, Indy's Friends and Enemies, iconic props, the effects, my controller batteries are low, as well as adventures in post-production. So this bonus disc, I would say, is pretty packed with extras. Not as many as you get on the Star Wars Complete Saga set. I've talked at length about the Star Wars Complete Saga set and how much I enjoy it. You get a lot of documentaries about the making of each 4 films, and I assume they're all pretty in-depth. So that concludes your menu tour. Let's go ahead and head on back and answer the 5 main questions as always. Okay, welcome back from the close-up. Now it's time to answer the 5 main questions as always. Number 1, where can you pick this product up? I have not seen the Steelbook on shelves since 2019, actually. It's 2020 now, and my Walmart has actually gotten rid of their Steelbook section. So, because I guess they just weren't selling, because guess what, Walmart? You overpriced them. That Hellboy Steelbook I talked about earlier, yeah, $25 at Walmart. That's not low prices. That's the same price I could get it at Target for. Hell, I bet it was even cheaper at Target. So, Walmart, they're made of steel. I get it. They're a premium product. But $10 a piece. Come on, guys. For real? Now you know why they didn't sell well. I mean, come on, guys. And since the Steelbook is the most recent reissue of this, I'd say look online, actually. I'd say look online. But if you have a Best Buy near you, they might have some residual copies from 2012 in their multi-collection section. Best Buy's pretty good with keeping in stock their multi-collection stuff. So check there, actually. If you can't find it there, you can always check Amazon. Number 2, is this product still being printed nowadays? I kind of already answered this question. No. The most recent reissue was in May of 2019, and when this episode is coming out, it's past May, so no. Good thing I'm filming this before Indiana Jones 5 comes out, because you bet your ass there will be a 5-movie collection. Number 3, should you pick this product up? I'm gonna try to keep this brief as I possibly can, because I don't want this episode to be over an hour long. Obviously, we're covering one more film than we did with Star Wars, so I don't want this episode to go for too long. So I'm just gonna keep my thoughts on these films brief, but I think you'll understand what I mean when I tell you about how I feel about these movies. Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. It's the best of the Indiana Jones trilogy. And not just because it came first, because it is the pinnacle of 80s action film. The stunts in this are brilliant. But not only are the stunts in this brilliant, and not only are the action sequences brilliant, they are complemented by the fabulous performance of one Harrison Ford, who is playing Han Solo. I mean, not Han Solo, Han Solo in a fedora. No, Indiana Jones. They're basically the same character. But, despite that fact, he's great in this. Harrison Ford is great as Indiana Jones. And everyone around him is great too. Karen Allen is a really good love interest for Indy. They have a great sparring back and forth in terms of lines that they say to one another. John Rhys-Davies as Sala, awesome. I don't remember who the guy was that played Belloc, but he's really good in his villainous role. The guy who plays Tote, that weird Nazi guy with the glasses that gets his hand burned. Yeah, his name's Tote. Amazing villain. Just wow. So the movie works as an action film. It also works as kind of a character piece. You know, studying the idea of Indiana Jones and how he wants to find this Lost Ark. He wants to raid for this Lost Ark, as the title implies. And the story is really investing in Raiders. I love how the story plays out. A lot of people are mad at Steven Spielberg and the writers of this because Indiana Jones isn't important to the story. He does nothing. I don't care. I still enjoy this film. Even if it's fundamentally flawed in that way, I don't care. I enjoy watching it. So please in the comments don't tell me, you know that Indiana Jones is useless in Raiders, right? I don't care. He's fun to watch in the film. Going back to action sequences, the beginning of this film hooks you automatically with that raid on that tomb and the idol and everything. Everything about that is just iconic, especially the big boulder. I mean, freaking Thomas and Friends took inspiration from that. Don't tell me the character of Boulder from Thomas and Friends was not inspired by the boulder in Raiders of the Lost Ark. You cannot tell me that's not true. So the action is great. The characters are great. The story is investing. Special effects are pretty good by today's standards. The face melting, though, has dated just slightly. I mean, I don't want to be called a movie heretic here, but the face melting could be better. I'm not saying it's bad. It could be better. And I just have to point out that none of the other Indiana Jones films have a monkey doing a Nazi salute. That means Raiders is the best. I forgot the monkey did the Nazi salute. That was just hilarious to me. And speaking of the monkey doing the Nazi salute, this film's also funny. It has a pretty good supply of jokes. It's not just serious action. There's a lot of quippy one-liners thrown into here, and just everything about this film comes together so perfectly in its under 2-hour runtime. Kind of barely under 2 hours, though, but it is under 2 hours, and it's a very satisfying watch. And I think it's entertaining for all ages. Maybe not super-de-duper-de young. You might scar your kids showing them the face-melting scene and Belloc's head exploding. But I'd say if your kid's in like the 9 to 10 age range, I think they'd be able to handle it. So yeah, I recommend Raiders. Absolutely, 100%. Now we move on to Temple of Doom. I have mixed feelings on Temple of Doom. On the one hand, it's a fun and entertaining movie, and one that is nowhere near as smart as Raiders is. It's not going to stick with you for long after you see it, except maybe the over-the-top Mola Ram pulls a guy's heart out of his chest thing. That might stick with you for a while. I just don't feel that Temple of Doom is as strong as Raiders. It doesn't have as good of a story as Raiders, and the characters, they're okay. Indiana Jones is kind of unlikable in this film, and I think that's due to the fact that Temple of Doom is actually a prequel to Raiders, and I don't know why that was necessary. If it were me making this movie, I would have said that Temple of Doom just comes after Raiders, and he and Marion just went their separate ways. I don't know. Why does it have to be a prequel? I mean, he and Marion go their separate ways in Last Crusade. There was no reason for this to be a prequel. Willie Scott. Kill her. Just stab her eyes out, please. That is her, and I can't remember what the... Tay Leone in Jurassic Park 3. I almost forgot her name. But Willie Scott, Kate Capshaw, and Tay Leone from Jurassic Park 3. Worst female performance in an action film I've ever seen. Absolutely atrocious. All they both do is scream their flippin' heads off, and it is annoying. Now, to Mrs. Capshaw's credit, she does stop the screaming after about 45 minutes into the movie. When the action finally starts, she finally shuts up and realizes that screaming is not going to get her anywhere. Temple of Doom is also kind of slow to begin. I mean, it starts with a bang with the action sequence at the beginning in Shanghai, I think it was? Yeah, Shanghai, pretty sure. But then for the rest of the first and half of the second act, nothing really happens. They walk across the jungle, Willie screams a lot, they end up at a palace, and then boom, it's action, action, action for the last hour of the movie. I just feel Temple of Doom has worse pacing than Raiders does. But I absolutely love Short Round. People think Short Round is annoying. I don't. I love the little dude. I wish he was in Raiders, actually, looking back on it now. But Raiders is a near perfect film, and Short Round would have just kind of overcrowded the cast. So I'm kind of glad he's a Temple of Doom only character. It's sad, though, when you realize what happened to Short Round. Indy just ships him off to boarding school, according to a novel. Not sure if that novel is canon in the Indiana Jones verse, but that's what I found on the internet. But I love Short Round. I think the guy gives a great performance. I don't remember what his name is, but he gives an excellent performance. I'm not going to do any impressions of him for fear of being canceled. And Temple of Doom is just way more over the top than Raiders is. Raiders had some pretty over the top stunts, but Temple of Doom just blows it out of the water. And dang, that CGI with Mola Ram falling off of the cliff, jeez, that was bad. Just bad. And some of the rear projection in this movie, just straight up terrible. Not holding back there. But despite all that, I think I can give Temple of Doom just the eke over the line, just barely a recommend. I don't hate the movie. I don't. But there's just a lot of problems that I have with it that I've detailed here that, man, just don't sit well with me. But I'm eking it over the line. Now we move on to The Last Crusade, the one that people say ties with Raiders in terms of being the best Indiana Jones film. Upon rewatching it, I don't think I agree with that. Like Temple of Doom, it has a bit of pacing problems towards the middle, and the story could be a little bit more investing. I also don't really care for Elsa as the indie girl. I know she's a villain, but she technically qualifies as an indie girl. I just don't really care for her all that much. But once again, I love Harrison Ford in this movie. I loved him in Temple of Doom. I never mentioned his name, but I loved him here and I love him in Temple of Doom. And I love the camaraderie between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery, who plays his father in Last Crusade. That was really good. But above all, there's just not really much I remember about Last Crusade. I mean, I know he goes on a quest for the Holy Grail. There's just not much I can talk about with Last Crusade. I mean, some of the rear projection in the plane is not very good either, but I mean, the other action scenes are pretty good. The chase on the motorcycle is entertaining. I don't hate Last Crusade either. I think it's better than Temple of Doom, but it's not better than Raiders. Raiders is the best indie film. Sorry about that, guys. I think Mike123 disagrees with me there. I think he likes Last Crusade more than Raiders, which good on you, bro. If you do, I just prefer Raiders. However, I can still give Last Crusade a better recommend than I can Temple of Doom. I would gladly watch Last Crusade over Temple of Doom any day. Now we move on to the white whale of the Indiana Jones franchise, the one that everyone agrees is terrible. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I don't completely hate this movie. I like the opening, for one. I think the opening is really good. It sets up a really intriguing mystery with the metal and how the object that Cate Blanchett's character is looking for is magnetic. That's really cool. I like Indiana Jones traversing this warehouse and you see the Ark of the Covenant that he recovered in Raiders. That was kind of cool. And I like old Indy not being able to get back in the fight as easy as he would when he was, 30, 40 years younger. He's older now, and it just makes sense to have him be a bit bumbling. I don't completely hate Shia LaBeouf in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but he's not very good. Not gonna lie there, he is not good in this movie. I'm just not a Shia LaBeouf guy. I don't know, he fumbled his way through Transformers, and he fumbled his way through here, and that's really it, man. He kind of fumbles his way through his performances. But hey, Karen Allen's back, and she is smiling throughout this whole damn movie. Good performance, though. I like seeing Karen Allen come back. I think she was just excited to be called to be in a movie again. And Cate Blanchett is not a bad villain, performance-wise. Motivation-wise, yes, she is. But performance-wise, Cate Blanchett's not bad in her performance. I actually kind of enjoy Cate Blanchett's performance. The Russian accent is absolutely terrible, and she should never speak with that again for fear of being shot, but she is pretty good in this movie. However, some of the over-the-top action sequences, particularly the one in the jungle with those big-ass tanks that have these huge, mower blades on the front, and Shia LaBeouf is swinging in the trees on vines like a monkey, and Cate Blanchett is sword fighting Shia LaBeouf while they're running through the jungle, and it's just a CGI-heavy mess. Just talking about this movie kind of makes me upset. It could have been better. I think that's the reason I don't like Crystal Skull so much, is because it could have been better. It should have known better, but it didn't. I don't find the story all that intriguing either. I think it's stupid that it's aliens that Indy finds, but they're not actually aliens from outer space. They're aliens from another dimension, apparently. I picked up on that watching it this time. Why? Why did it have to be aliens, George Lucas? If you don't know, it was George Lucas that wanted it to be aliens. Why did it have to be aliens? If you're going to go that far, you should make an Indiana Jones film about that Star Wars comic where Han Solo and Chewbacca crash land on Earth. Han Solo gets killed by natives, and Chewbacca becomes Sasquatch, and years later, Indiana Jones finds Han Solo's corpse. That's a real thing. Make that movie. Make that Indiana Jones 5, please. So with the really bad special effects, the not-so-engaging story, the great performance by Harrison Ford, Cate Blanchett, and Karen Allen, the mediocre fumbling through the film performance that Shia LaBeouf turns in, I can't recommend Crystal Skull. I can't recommend you see it, even. It just feels so unnecessary. Even at the end when Indy and Marion get married, it just... like, I felt for the two characters in context of watching Raiders, but not in context of this movie. I feel like they went through nothing in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. They're just gonna forget about it in 2 to 3 days. Kinda like I did. I have no desire to ever watch Crystal Skull ever again. It's completely forgettable. But it does have some moments of kind of good things in it. It's not 100% terrible. But I can understand where some Indiana Jones fans would hate this movie. I, for one, was just kind of bored by it and didn't really care for it all that much. So that means, do I recommend picking up Indiana Jones: The Complete Adventures? Yeah. Shockingly enough, I do recommend you get the whole set because you can honestly find the movies cheaper in the Blu-ray set than you ever can in just a trilogy set. And honestly, you want to watch these on Blu-ray because they look amazing. I love how these look on Blu-ray. Pay the extra $5 for the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull disc. Use it as a coaster and just watch the other 3 movies on Blu-ray. Number 4, where should you pick this product up? You find it in a store, cool, but you could probably find it cheaper online, unless you want the novelty of saying, hey, I found this in a store. Other than that, buy it on Amazon. And number 5, what price should you pay? Well, this is quite difficult, because there are a lot of different versions of Indiana Jones out there. I'm not going to give you prices on VHSs, because who wants VHSs nowadays? Unless you're a Thomas Home Media guy, you don't really need those things. I'll give you prices on the DVD trilogy sets. Those things are more common than coasters. But to get it complete in the box with the cardboard slipcover and the bonus disc, I'd say $20 to $25 for that one. For the Blu-ray set, getting that complete with its slipcover, the hard cardboard slipcover, or if you get the steelbook, $30 to $35 for that, because you're getting an upscaled picture quality, more bonus content, and an extra disc with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Alright, so that concludes this HMR on the Indiana Jones collection. A really good trilogy of films, with a really lackluster 4th one just kind of tacked on there at the end. But a good trilogy! It was really good trilogy, actually. Raiders kind of carries the whole trilogy on its shoulders, but, you know, Crusade is pretty good. Temple is okay. It's entertaining at the very least. So next week, let's switch gears a bit. Instead of parodies of 1940s serials, let's go to the 90s. Specifically 1994, when a little film called Pulp Fiction hit the scene, directed by an up-and-coming filmmaker, Quentin Tarantino. This is my first Tarantino film I'm covering on this show, which is surprising because I love Tarantino as a filmmaker. I just couldn't find anywhere to fit my favorite movie of his into season 1. Spoiler alert, that favorite film of his might just be Pulp Fiction. You'll have to check back next week to find out. Thank you all so much for watching this video, though. I'll see you all in the next one. Good night, everybody.